Representative McLean, the head of the House Republican Conference, the number 3 Republican in the House, if you have any comments or questions.
Well, I have a lot to say, but unfortunately I got a short time to say it in. So let me start with thank you. Thank you for putting this on the floor. Thank you, Maria. And thank you to the First Lady to drawing attention. It is disgusting that we have to put this common sense legislation on the floor, but here we sit today, right? Representative Khanna, thank you so much for being here, because this is not a partisan issue. Taking the innocence away from the most vulnerable, our children, this isn't a partisan game. This is games with our children's lives. And as parents, where are you parents? I can't even begin to imagine your emotions. I mean, I applaud you for your decorum. And for the victims, you want to talk about courageous? You want to talk about winners? You want to talk about young people with some guts? You're looking at them right here. We can't thank you enough. We're sorry from the bottom of our hearts for what you've had to go through, and for the parents, for the suffering that you have. But it is darkest before the dawn, and it starts today. So thank you for having the courage to stand up to be true winners. And we will, like the leader and the speaker said, we will get this done. We must get this done. So take a moment and reflect in your courage in everything that you've accomplished at such a young age. And parents, I don't know how much more proud you can be of your children. So thank you.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you for your leadership. Now I want to recognize Congressman Kevin Hern, who is the chairman of the Republican Policy Committee, for any comments or questions.
Thanks, Senator, and First Lady, thank you so much for making us, pushing it forward. This is going to be something that, as the speaker said, this is something we need to modernize law for what's happening with technology. And somebody that's old enough to have 3 children, from 36 to 25, and now 3 grandchildren, and just had a 4th one that's a little girl. And the reason I say all that is the evolution just in our lifespan of the technology that's happened and what's happened to our generations. Bringing this to the forefront is so important for us to make a law that will fix this for future generations. It's tragic. And it shouldn't be, as you said, Senator, for those who have influence. It should be for every American to be able to protect their innocence. Artists and musicians and actors are doing it every day. They've been doing it now for 2 or 3 years. We need to make sure the least of us can have the same opportunity. And as the First Lady said, we should have everybody involved in this. This should be one of the easiest things that's ever gone through Congress. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity to address any issues that might come from any of our colleagues. But again, thank you, Congresswoman Salazar, Senator Cruz, and First Lady. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you being involved.
Thank you, Kevin. Now I'd like to recognize Representative Brett Guthrie, the chairman of the Energy and Commerce Committee.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, my colleague, Congresswoman Salazar. Thank you for doing the First Lady. Thank you for being here and all our advocates. I will say that now the Energy and Commerce Committee is going to have a hearing very, very soon. This bill is going to pass out of the House of Representatives. And I would have no doubt that the President would sign this bill, but I certainly have no doubt the President will sign this bill in a way that has everybody who's been part of this to be a part of it. And I'll just say, it's just kind of interesting to point out, if you think about how this started, so Senator Cruz, I just became chairman of the committee. We had a meeting right after I became chairman, called and say, hey, let's get together and talk about our issues. This is the #1 issue. Our committees have a lot of jurisdiction. This is the #1 thing that he brought up is the most important thing to him this session, to get through the House, from the Senate to the House of Representatives. And it started by a constituent going to visit her senator. And if you think about that, here your constituent goes to visit her senator in America. And now you're sitting next to the First Lady of the United States. This is how it's supposed to work. We're seeing how it's supposed to work. It's a horrific situation, but the response to it is the way that we're supposed to respond. So we have to respond to it. And I'm sitting here just going to guarantee you the House Energy and Commerce Committee, working with our leadership, is going to respond to it. And thanks for all of you for your advocacy for being here and bringing this attention. Thanks, Senator Cruz, for stressing this in our very first meeting, and this is going to be a top priority over the next few weeks for the Energy and Commerce Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your leadership at ENC, and it's incredibly important. Final speaker, Representative Ro Khanna. Thank you, Ro, for joining us, and you're recognized for any comments or questions.
Well, thank you, Senator Cruz. Thank you for your leadership on this for many years. Thank you, Congresswoman Salazar, for your leadership. Speaker Johnson and Leader Scalise, thank you for, on issues like this, working in a bipartisan way. First Lady Trump, I really appreciate your bringing your humanity and looking at this as a parent and as a leader and not through politics. Your presence here obviously is going to make a big difference, and I appreciate your being here and doing so for the country in a bipartisan way. Mr. Guffey, sorry for your loss. Thank you for being here. And to Francesca, Elliston, and Breeze, I mean, you inspire all of us. And I just would say this, look, Francesca invoked John F. Kennedy. My parents came here in the 1960s from India when Kennedy was talking about going to the moon, and I know Breeze talked about that. We've got to be able to figure out some ways of coming together as a country, as divided as we are. I represent Silicon Valley. I'm very proud of the innovation. I'm very proud of the technology. But America should lead in making sure that technology protects kids and protects people. And I think this bill, as you've crafted it, Senator Cruz, balances the free speech concerns with the protections, and I'm looking forward to supporting it.
Well, Ro, thank you for being here, and let me say thank you for the bipartisan support we have in this bill. In the Senate, Senator Klobuchar is the lead Democrat author, and we've passed it unanimously through the Senate, and in the House, Madeline Dean and Ro Khanna and other Democrats are supporting it, and I'm confident. There are issues that divide us on partisan bases, but this should not be one of them. This should be one that we all come together and say, look, we need to protect our kids. We need to keep them safe. I will say to the victim advocates, you guys are extraordinary, you are courageous, you are inspirational, and you're making a real difference, so thank you. I will say to the House members, you're seeing something that I'm sure you thought was impossible, which is the Senate doing anything briefly and expeditiously, but this was scheduled to last 1 hour, and we are at 59 minutes, precisely on time. And Madam First Lady, we are grateful for your leadership. Your presence and your advocacy brings people together, inspires them, and is producing real action to fight for these young women and young boys and Americans across the country, and we're grateful. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.